Hi, what's up? My name is Adam, and you are on Cyber Raccoon channel. Today I'm going to tell you about the best games ported from PC to Android. Watch the video to the end, subscribe our channel, and you will always be aware of what to play today. XCOM, Enemy Within. Enemy Within is a separate add-on for XCOM, Enemy Unknown, but all the mechanics for which gamers fell in love with the series migrated to this project. A lot of new content has also been added to Enemy Within, fighter abilities, weapons, enemies, storylines, and so on. This is a turn-based strategy game in which the player acts as the owner of an anti-alien organization. He will have to recruit fighters with different characteristics to the squad and go to different parts of the world in order to protect him from invasion. An excellent game that does not forgive mistakes. If you lost a fighter, you have to put up with it. GTA, San Andreas. An immortal classic that was my first PC game in my life. Words are superfluous here. If you have not played San Andreas, then this gap must be filled immediately. In the mobile version, the graphics have been improved, convenient controls have been developed, and new content has been added, weapons, cars, and so on. And, most intriguingly, the original storyline has been expanded. Therefore, if at one time you were worried about the fate of Carl Johnson, aka CJ, then this is one of the many reasons to return to Los Santos. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. An atmospheric mobile adventure game that tells the story of two brothers who set out to find a cure for their father. A seemingly fabulous and simple puzzle is gradually revealed, and after a while the player will understand that behind the beautiful graphics is hidden a deep story that touches on life topics. The user will have to control two heroes at the same time by holding certain sticks on the phone screen. Together, brothers must solve puzzles and help each other in times of trouble. The plot will send the gamer to beautiful forests, abandoned temples, and other picturesque places. This War of Mine. A popular survival simulator set during the Civil War. The developers strive to show what happens to ordinary people who find themselves in the midst of such terrible events. The actual siege of Sarajevo was taken as a basis. The player, controlling a group of civilians, must survive in a besieged city. It is necessary to equip the shelter, as well as take care of people, obtaining food, medicine, and weapons. The gameplay is divided into two phases, day and night. The player will face many problems, for example lack of food, attacks by marauders, illness of civilians, cold. Far from being a casual game, gamers should prepare themselves to lose most of their squad. The Witness is a colorful first-person puzzle game that has been enthusiastically received by the public. The player, waking up on the island, will explore the open world and solve maze-like puzzles in the process. There is no plot as such. Instead, the gamer will find voice recorders, excerpts from books, videos, and visual images that will help to understand the philosophy of this world. In total, the game features over 600 puzzles, but not all of them need to be solved to complete. Although there is no plot, there is an ending, and not even one. But to unlock the second one you need to look for secret riddles. Broken Age. Adventure game created by Tim Schafer, Monkey Island series, Grim Fandango, Psychonauts. The gamer, controlling two teenagers, the girl Velia and the boy Shay, will explore the world around him, collect key items to solve puzzles, and interact with the elements of the location. There are non-player characters with whom you can communicate. Options for answers are also available in dialogues. The story describes two, at first glance, completely different teenagers, but in the process of passing their fates will intertwine. An excellent game with a good story, humor, and an excellent hand-drawn picture. The game could not be found in the official digital services. Hello Neighbor. A colorful horror, the idea of which will be familiar to those who watch horror films. You have to find out what the neighbor is doing in his house, because he obviously hides a couple of skeletons in the closet. Of course, you need to make your way into his fortress quietly and make sure that he does not notice you, otherwise you will find out what he is doing in the basement, although you will not be able to get out. An excellent puzzle in the horror style. You will search for key items and try to remove the huge lock on the door. To do this, you need to inspect the rooms in the house and be sure not to forget to look back. Call of Duty Mobile. The famous series of first-person shooters has now migrated to mobile devices, also for free. Includes multiplayer battles in various modes, standard 5v5 team battle, battle royale, survival against zombies, sniper rifle duel, and so on. A rich selection of equipment is presented, weapons, costumes, characters, items of equipment, and so on. Much has migrated from the original games to Call of Duty Mobile. For example, you will be able to play maps that were in Modern Warfare and Black Ops. There is a rating table. You are invited to prove your superiority, among others. Wonder Boy, The Dragon's Trap. You probably don't even know about this game, but it is a classic in the platformer genre. The first games in the series were released on slot machines, and The Dragon's Trap is a re-release with updated graphics and sound. You can also play it on Android. As you control a half-lizard man, you will go through various tests to remove the curse. To do this, you have to explore various locations, there is non-linearity, and fight with fabulous enemies, monsters, and dragons. As in the PC version, here you can switch graphics between modern and 8-bit, as well as select the level of difficulty. Great remake worth playing. Warface Global Operations. Adaptation of the famous shooter for mobile platforms. The developers have implemented convenient controls. All buttons can be customized, as well as modern three-dimensional graphics. The gameplay is focused on 4v4 PvP battles. The battles take place on various maps that were specially created for this game. The character can be customized and improved his characteristics thanks to the pumping system. Another plus, over 120 types of weapons and equipment carried over from the original Warface. Ultramodern Goat Simulator. In this game you have to control this animal and create chaos. Destroy everything that you see, scare people, ride a skateboard, and perform various tricks. The developers do not hide that their creation is an idiotic game, and it would be better for you to spend your time on something useful. But thanks to the original idea and sparkling humor, it has become popular on the internet. And if you are tired of serious games, then here you can really relax. Dead by Daylight. A multiplayer horror game with asymmetric gameplay. The gameplay is based on matches for 5 people, with 4 taking on the role of survivors and the 5th becoming a maniac. The task of the people is to start all the generators that open the doors from the trap. The killer, as you might guess, needs to prevent the survivors, and at the same time plant them on the blade of a machete or a hook. Recognized by the gaming community, Dead by Daylight has over 200,000 reviews on Steam. Suitable for both playing with friends and solo players. Portal. Valve's legendary puzzle game has also made its way to Android, but requires an NVIDIA Shield controller and console to run. Owners of these powerful devices will be able to enjoy improved graphics and addictive gameplay that will make their head work. The gameplay is based on spatial puzzles, with a solution of which the player will use a portal cannon, which creates 2 portals. Some tasks are quite simple, while others will require ingenuity and reaction speed from the gamer. Add to this a great storyline, dark humor, and atmosphere, and you have an unforgettable entertainment for several evenings. Star Wars KOTOR. The first Star Wars RPG can also be played on Android, a great opportunity to experience true classics from veterans of BioWare. In the story you will go to the Old Republic, and the action develops 4,000 years before the events of the films we know. Both the first and the second parts offer you to create your character in the cult universe and go on adventures where real-time battles with a tactical pause, meetings with familiar and not-so characters await you, as well as a fantastic atmosphere and a well-thought-out plot, thanks to which the fans thought the game is better than the prequel trilogy that came out around the same time. Hotline Miami. An authentic soundtrack, surreal storyline, and an indescribable 90s vibe are just some of the things that will impress you in Hotline Miami's top-down shooter. The life of the protagonist cannot be called boring. Every morning he receives messages on his answering machine, in which he is ordered to kill everyone at various addresses. It would seem that just killing everyone at every level is a mortal boredom, but in Hotline Miami the gameplay cannot be called tiring, since the shootouts are fast and rich in colors, and the main character, like his opponents, can die from one bullet. The features also include a collection of masks, each of them before entering, endows the protagonist with abilities that will facilitate or, conversely, complicate the passage. The Wolf Among Us is one of Telltale Games' standout adventure quest creations. Get ready to discover an alternate world from 1986, in which various mythical creatures hide under human form and live side by side with humans. This story is dedicated to the detective Bigby Wolf, who protects himself from the rest of the world. The gameplay is familiar to you if you've played at least one of Telltale Games' creations. The Wolf Among Us is also a point-and-click adventure quest with a storyline divided into 5 episodes. In the process of passing, you will not only solve various puzzles, but also take part in fascinating dialogues. The choice of the answer option in which affects the development of the plot and the ending. Limbo. Everyone loved the unusual puzzle platformer Limbo. Critics and players were generous with excellent reviews, and the game publications awarded the project the title's Best Indie Game, Game of the Year, and many others in 2010. Today, you can get acquainted with this diamond of the gaming industry without getting out of bed. The game tells the story of a nameless boy who, waking up in a strange, dark forest, goes in search of his sister. The gameplay is filled with challenging physics puzzles that the player will solve through trial and error, and the unique atmosphere is recreated thanks to the monochromatic black and white picture, ambient soundtrack, and minimalistic environments. An unambiguous must-have. In the funny simulator Octodad, Dadliest Catch, you play as an octopus who tries to appear human and live the everyday life of a family man. Yes, you read everything correctly. Our hero has a wife, a cozy home, and everything that one can dream of. But he has paws, or rather tentacles, and therefore it is extremely difficult to hide his true essence. In the game, you have to solve simple tasks, but due to the origin of the protagonist, they are not easy to complete. Try to just take something from the table, manipulating the tentacles, and not arrange a mayhem which will surely arouse the suspicion of others. It is not only difficult, but also fun. Doom 3 BFG. The classic first-person shooter has also hit Android in the form of a re-release of BFG, and is sure to delight sci-fi fans. Probably everyone knows about this game, but if you suddenly missed it, then we tell you, this is a dynamic shooter in the spirit of the old school, in which you will be engaged in the extermination of demons on Mars. Nothing superfluous. Here's a cannon, here's enemies, go ahead. Despite the monotonous gameplay, Doom 3 has managed to become one of the best games in its genre. She is praised for her bouncy action, excellent graphics for that time, and an interesting plot, which is already atypical for such shooters. The BFG edition also includes additional levels, and the sound and lighting have been redesigned. Max Payne Mobile. The story of Max Payne will live forever in the hearts of fans, and the release of the first part on Android is a reason to relive the adventures of a drunken bodyguard or start getting to know them. The hero will have to regain his good name and avenge his family, but this path is thorny and full of difficulties, with which, we have no doubt, he will cope and get the lion's share of pleasure from it. The Max Payne feature is the first cinematic shootout with bullet time technology in the history of the gaming industry. With time dilated, any brawl here looks like a scene from a Hong Kong action